Hi there, it's Mike from Lanzarote Information, and this week we're going to be talking about El Menú del Día. Now, the Menú del Día is probably Spain's best value lunch offering, and today we're going to talk about how it came about, what you can expect to eat, how you should ask for it, and roughly how much it costs as well. So let's kick off by talking about the background to it and how it came about, because it's quite an interesting story. We need to wind the clock back to the early 1960s in Spain, when the country was having a difficult economic time. Now bear in mind that El Generalissimo, the General Franco, was still the dictator of the country and would be until the mid-1970s. And he allegedly came up with the idea for the Menú del Día. Now you need to remember that then as now, most Spanish people eat their main meal of the day at lunchtime. So Franco's idea in these cash-strapped times was that restaurants should produce a healthy and great value for money three-course lunch for the workers, and that's why Menús del Día are typically only available on weekdays. Franco went a step further and actually mandated that every restaurant had to offer a Menú del Día. That law was repealed back in 2010, but most restaurants, or a lot of restaurants I would say, continue to offer a Menú del Día, particularly if you get out of the holiday resort areas and into other areas of the island or Spain where locals live rather than vast amounts of tourists. Now this was interesting because once it came into law, and I think the year was 1964, all restaurants across Spain, as I said, were offering a Menú del Día because they had to. But this was also at the time when tourism was just starting in Spain. And a lot of the restaurants in the tourist resorts on the Costa del Sol and the Costa Blanca and in those areas suddenly realised that this presented them with an opportunity as well. Because at that time, most of the tourists coming to Spain, and they were predominantly coming from the United Kingdom, didn't really know much about Spanish food. They would look at menus in Spanish and be confused, and it was very easy then for those tourist places to start offering Menús del Día. It kind of made it easy because they were just giving people a choice. Do you want meat? Do you want fish? Do you want the salad? For starter, do you want soup? Do you want salad? Do you want pasta? And so on. So what is it? The Menú del Día is a fixed price, three-course menu with options that is almost always served with bread, with a glass of wine or a caña, a small beer, and a dessert or a coffee at the end of it. Now, when you walk into a restaurant, first of all, you'll probably be offered la carta, which is the Spanish word for the menu, la carta. And this is where it gets a bit confusing for non-Spanish speakers. Now, if you're given la carta, you can then at that point ask if they offer a Menú del Día. And the simplest way to do that is to use the word hay, H-A-Y, is there. So, hay un Menú del Día? At which point they will either bring you, they will either say, no, we don't offer one, or they will bring you a copy of that day's Menú del Día. Just a quick tip here. We always find the best ones are the ones where the Menú del Día is written on a blackboard, either inside or outside the premises, because that generally means that the chef changes it every day based on what he or she has been able to buy at the market that day. So what does a Menú del Día consist of? Well, there are three courses, and the first of those is el primer plato. Now, generally, you'll be given a choice of 2 or 3 dishes for each of the courses. So the primer plato might consist of perhaps one choice being a soup or a gazpacho, another choice being a salad of the day, for example. A third choice might be a pasta dish. And then you'll go on to el segundo plato, and that will nearly always consist of 3 dishes, one being a meat dish, one being a fish dish, and one being, in most cases, some kind of vegetarian dish stroke salad. And then finally you'll get el postre, which is the dessert. you'll almost always be offered a crema catalan or some kind of egg-based dessert dish. Some places just offer ice cream. Some places do those sort of fancy ice cream desserts that Calice provide over here. Other places will make homemade cakes and all kinds of interesting things. It just depends on the type of chef that is operating in that environment. If you prefer, you can skip the postre and usually have a coffee instead, although some places offer coffee as well. Most restaurants will provide you with a basket of bread on the table. Here in the Canaries, that will often be accompanied by mojo sauces. And as I said before, all of them will offer a drink with the meal. Your choice of soft drink, it might be a caña, a small beer, or it could be a glass of wine. Now, as with all food everywhere, the quality can really vary, and a tip I would give you is just to look for a place that is full of locals from sort of 1:30 onwards, because that's wherever you are in Spain, the Canaries or the mainland, because that's generally a really good indication that the food is both good and good value for money as well. Now, while we're talking about value for money, how much should you expect to pay for one of these menus del dia? Well, I would say the typical range is from 13 euros to about 20 euros. And we're recently back from a trip to the mainland of Spain, and we were over there for 3 weeks. And most days we ate a menú del día, and we had some really, really good food. And generally we paid $13.99 to sort of $15.99 for our main meal of the day, which you sort of left very replete and very happy with the amount of food that you'd been given. So I know that most of you watching this will be watching it because you're interested in Lanzarote, and obviously I'm doing this video for Lanzarote information. And probably the question in your minds now is, which restaurants in Lanzarote offer menus del dia? And I guess the answer to that is most places outside of the resort areas will do them. Many of the teleclubs and sociedades do them. Just look out while you're out and about. Look for the chalkboard outside that says Menú del Día. When you go into a place in Arrieta or Punta Mujeres or El Golfo, ask them if they do a Menú del Día. Remember that phrase, it's hay un menú del día. Nobody's going to be offended if they don't offer one and they therefore say no, but you'll be able to ask that question before you sit down and have your meal. So I'll give you a list of a few of the places we know offer menus del día in Lanzarote and that we've eaten at and enjoyed. I'm going to refer to my iPad to do this, but El Tomate in Puerto Calero does a surprisingly good value menu del día. La Opera in Playa Honda has a good choice, 3 different menus at different prices. Lilium in Arrecife in the marina there offers quite a pricey menu del día, but it's a good one. Bacchus in Costa Teguise, medium price, good food, drinks are not included in that one. La Rustica in Arrecife, great choice and super value for money. And La Chelana in Puerto del Carmen in Calle Teide offers a menú del día as well. So contrary to what I said earlier, actually, there are quite a few in some of the resorts, but you've maybe got to seek them out and find out which ones that locals go to, because it's those restaurants that are likely to be the ones that offer a menú del día. So if you've got any that you know of, please pop a comment in below and let everyone know if you've found a good menú del día that you've enjoyed on the island, and we can create a growing list of more and more places that offer these. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's been useful. If it has, please click the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you've got any questions about menus del día or Lanzarote in general, put a comment in below. I read all of the comments and I will be very happy to answer your questions. Thanks so much for watching once again, and bye for now everyone. Bye.